All right, technically we're live. Hello, Daniel. All right, y'all, come on in here. We're gonna hang out. I'm gonna roll some cigars. That's pretty much it. Maybe talk a little, maybe answer questions, maybe ask a few. Hope everybody's doing all right. Give some time for people to get in here. I got to reach way over here to. I'm not at my desk. I'm at the rolling table. It's where we are. All right, y'all. Pile on in here. If you have comments or questions, type them in. Hello, Mississippi. I'm going to get started on rolling some cigars. I just figured we'd hang around the rolling table. I was not planning on doing a live tonight because it's hot. We got, crazy times. We got inch and a half of rain last night, and it's really humid. It's beautiful. It's been beautiful outside. It's nice outside, nice breeze and everything else, but in here, it's pretty humid. All right, so if you guys have any questions or comments, let's go. Otherwise, we're going to sit here. I ought to get rid of that banner so you can actually see the rolling part. All right. I am not doing anything fancy tonight. I'm not going to be using the press. Everything's going to be free rolled, old school Cuban style, so that if you were on the streets of Havana in 1954, wandered into one of the factories or found somebody rolling on the street, this is what you would have had. I did not vote for you, President. Sorry. I have grown my own tobacco before. Oh my gosh. This is just becoming a thing now. I got to figure out how to do this. Sorry. Here's what we can do. All right. That'll do it. All right. Hey, how's it going, Frank? How's it going, Scott? I guess we're getting popular enough now that we're going to be having trolls regularly. All right. So, like I said, I'm not doing anything fancy today. I'm not going to be doing any factory beautiful cigars out of the press. I'm just going to roll some nice, beautiful, old school, pre-Castro Cuban style cigars. Hello, Hava. We got Miami here. We got several Texases here. We got all kinds of Texases here. Mississippi, Michigan. Y'all come on in. Do me a favor. If you're on the YouTube site, hit the like button, or wherever you are. Just hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. This is not our normal show. I don't normally sit here and about once or twice a month. I like to do a live from the rolling table, just a casual hangout. Like I said, I wasn't going to do a live tonight, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I know people have anxiety and sometimes questions, so I'm here for you. If you have questions or comments, just type them into the comment section wherever you are. They should show up here eventually, and then I'll see him, and then we'll have a little chat. Rain all day, on and off. Yeah, we had a good rain last night. I got about 1.5 inches. I don't know, Frank, how much did you get out where you are? Got about 1.5 inches. And it was a pretty good rain. We got lightning hit like within probably a quarter of a mile, maybe less, maybe a couple 100 feet. Yeah, I've grown my own tobacco before. 2015, I grew all my own tobacco, and growing tobacco is easy. Curing it is quite a challenge when you live off grid. By the way, I got a shower today. I'm pretty sure. What month is this? June. This may have been my first June shower. And by shower, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I live off grid. It was with a bucket and a pitcher, pouring water on myself. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting time. There are things going on that convince me that things are going to get a whole lot worse, and that people need to be getting themselves prepared. There's been some weird, wild stuff going on there, but the most interesting is the canceling of everything. What cigar goes best post Szechuan stir fry? Whatever cigar you have will go best. I'm not as you might be surprised, I am not a cigar snob. When I do buy cigars, I buy cheap ones. Heirloom tobacco seed's a good idea as a part of your preps. Tobacco is fairly easy to grow, and it's not overly complicated to cure. It just takes the right environment, humidity, air movement, etc. And it can be done. I did it, and I did it successfully and made some very nice smokable tobacco. You know, they've been doing it for cigarettes, which I don't condone, you know, all across America without power for hundreds of years, going back to when all those white racists founded the country. And so tobacco has, you know, long been a staple crop, and could be argued that tobacco built America. It ought to be a really good sale or barter item. Unhappily, a lot of people don't know that to make a good, safe, smokable tobacco, you really need to cure it properly. And it can be done if you're in a humid environment, particularly. Yep, Tobacco Barn smells great. All right, there's number one, little free roll. It's ugly. If you guys want to see a beautiful factory style with a nice triple cap, I've got videos online where I show how to do that. I'm just making me some to put in my humidor right now, and not trying to get too fancy or too sexy with it. Y'all come on in, say hi, smash the like button. We can still talk about whatever you want to talk about. We don't have to talk about tobacco. We can talk about what's going on in the world. Perhaps, you know, I don't know, whatever's going on where you are. I didn't bring a rant. there's always things I could rant about, but I didn't bring one. And I was just sitting there going, people might need to talk. Maybe they just need to talk. I don't know. I saw some frantic stuff going on online and people freaking out a little bit. And so I just thought, well, I'll get on there. I need to roll some cigars anyway. I got a shower today, so I'm feeling good. Cooking stir fry. I will tell you this. I'm hungry at the moment. I am, again, on a little bit of a, what they call a cut. Just part of my fitness challenge. If you don't know about it, you can go to go down in the description after this video is over on YouTube, and I'll have a link to the fitness channel. I have a fitness channel, and my part of the fitness channel, the fitness challenge, started today. So I had, and I'm supposed to be gaining a little as I prepare myself. I had gone down to 101 pounds down. Since the end of that cut, I'd put on about 13 pounds on purpose, carefully, slowly. They call a lean bulk. Not trying to put on too much fat, trying to put on some muscle, getting in the gym. And then I figured I probably need to cut back down a little bit, get rid of a little bit of the subcutaneous fat, and lean back up a little bit before I add a little more. Hope everybody's doing all right out there. Like I said, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm just here hanging out. I'm not bored like Tro says. I'm almost never bored. But because I always have stuff to do. How long do you think we have? I'm starting to see some pretty definite signs of a hot war coming. I'm with you on that. And unhappily, I'm not saying they're equal in any sense, but I'm not particularly excited about either side's position on anything right now. And so some of the threads that I was reading today, I think there are people out there who don't know anything about war, who are anxious and excited about it. I'm not. I mean, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere and certainly prepared, or as prepared as anybody could be. How long do I think we have? Let me think on that. The period between now and the election is going to be interesting. Well, there are a number of layers of all this. There's not just things going on politically. There are things going on legally. So by that I mean the sides have weaponized government, the judiciary, law enforcement, the highest levels of federal law enforcement. What we're seeing is a death struggle between two, mostly, and again, I'm not equating them by saying that I think there's problems on both sides. I'm saying two mostly morally bankrupt political sides who realize the other side intends their death. And I don't mean death physically, although that's part of it. I mean the end of that worldview. So we basically have these two worldviews that are in a death struggle, both of them on different levels, morally bankrupt. Both of them see that the other side has as its goal their eradication, their removal from access to the levers of power and the money that power enables them to graft. And so surely out there's some people out there that are dumb who are listening to me saying, oh, he's saying that these aren't the same, which I'm not. They are each corrupt in their own quantity and in their own way. What that just means for reasonable people is the time for or the ability to see a way out is the window is closing. Hold on, this is cool. I have 3 salted and dried lamb hides in my freezer. Already cut the wool off. Any recommended way to tan the hides on a super low budget? Well, yeah, you could do it on a super low budget if you kept any of the fat or the brains. You can do it. But there is a ton. I got a book up here on tanning. I'm not an expert on tanning. I know a little bit about it. But if you have any of the rest of the animal, you can use oak leaves. You can use for tanning. You can use acorns. There's a lot. There's a ton of really good videos on YouTube on it. I've looked at a lot of them. How long? Oh, my Army training was in civil affairs, refugee evacuation, and from the exercises we ran, I can tell you that being a civilian in the middle of a war is not the place to be. Projected death rate was horrendous, worse than the armies themselves. Yeah, I agree with you. Hello, Montana. Good to see you. Come on in here. We're just hanging out. I'm rolling cigar number 2. These are free rolls, which means I'm not using the form or the press. I'm doing this old school, the way your cigar would have been made 100 years ago. And these particular ones are not going to be beautiful, but I'm just getting some for my humidor, which is empty at the moment. And I came down here earlier to roll a couple, and I thought, I should just do a live from the rolling table. Yeah, you're right, Daniel. A year to 8 months would be a long window. I would be surprised as well, but I have been surprised before. And this time right now, going to towards the election through the summer is going to be very telling. The problem we have when you have this death struggle going on between these two ideologies, one of them clearly and openly communist and totalitarian, although in some minor points they get some things right as far as some things that are wrong. And I just wrote a book comparing what's going on right now with there it is running across the bottom of your screen, God in the Storm, going out with that, what happened with the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia right before the Cambodian Civil War, and then the Khmer Rouge taking over, killing 2.5 million people. And I've recommended that people read Was it Revolt of the Masses, which was written right before or going into the things that led up to World War II. I don't know what Ramon Bassett means, Angie. You got me on that one. Anyways, you guys hit the like button, especially if you're in the YouTubes. If you're on the Facebooks, glad to have you. You can hit the like button too. And but if you get an opportunity, I'm scratching my leg because I probably got chigger bites. This is a nice little looking one. I don't know exactly where the camera is. Like I said, these are not, I get them perfectly round, nice, beautiful. When I use the form and the press, but these are all free rolls. So we're in this death struggle of stupid that seems to be, I always try to leave a way out. It seems to be inescapable. You would like to see that not be the case. And I know one way or another that God's got this planned and handled for the good of his people. So I'm not concerned in the long run with anything other than, as Frank mentioned, the mayhem and death and pain and suffering, to see the destruction that will come from it if it happens, and the moral depravity that blooms during times of war. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Angie. It just, when it shows up on my screen, because I'm on YouTube, it didn't highlight it, so I just thought you were saying someone's name to me. Sorry about that. I didn't know you were calling someone out. All right, y'all, come on in, say hi, smash the like button wherever you are. If you have questions or comments, this is a conversation, not a monologue. So come on in. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about while I roll me a handful of cigars for my humidor. Way to keep my hand and mind busy. Practice my craft. Also, really good barter item for when the stuff hits the fan. I want to remind you all that I make this look easy. It's a little bit more difficult than it appears. It takes a long time, a lot of practice, years and years and years and years. This one I'm making now is really with a lot of parts and pieces. It's all long filler, but it's a lot of parts and pieces. All right. Thank you for stopping by. God be with you too. If anybody else has any comments, questions, topics for discussion, I'm here for you. That's why I'm here. I try to be a little placid island of stability between my rants. My rants are meant to be educational, but I try to be a anchor, so to speak, and to be here for you, and just in case you want to chat. You know, maybe you're bored, maybe you're doing some Szechuan stir fry and you don't have anybody to talk to. And I'm just here for you, man. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm here for you. Using a lot of scrap on this one. My scrap pile was starting to build up. So he was talking about the stir fry, and I'll just tell you right now, I'm a little hungry. I made protein pizza earlier today, and there's 2 pieces up there for my supper waiting on me. It was pretty delicious. Do you grow any of your own leaf, or is that not a Texas thing? No, I have and do sometimes grow. Tobacco grows great in Texas. In fact, it's the best place in the world to grow tobacco, according to science, not according to my opinion. The reason that it is not widely grown in Texas is because the government in around 1910 decided that it was still really easy to import tobacco and to grow tobacco on the East Coast, and they wanted Texas and the South still growing cotton. Texas was a massive grower of tobacco at the time, and they had run tests, the government had, that showed that Texas can be the best place in the world, better than Cuba, to grow cigar tobacco. And for a while, it became pretty widespread. West Texas was covered with tobacco. But the government wanted everybody growing cotton. And so that's where the cotton subsidies, etc., came in and pretty much crushed the tobacco business in Texas. And so now Texas doesn't grow tobacco. It should. Is it necessary to read all 3 parts of Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, or is just reading the first? The first one is enough. It's enough. And I say that knowing that, I mean, there's value in all 3 parts, but the first part is generally what people talk about as far as they reference, and most of the information that needed to be communicated is in that first part. So I would say yes, but I would say for everybody to read at least the first part, Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, probably one of the most important books of the 20th century as it applies to what's going on right now. Don't be fooled and think that this is some struggle between anything less than Western civilization and the forces at work to destroy it. That doesn't mean the 2 particular parties, my light went out, that are engaged in this death struggle of stupid are in and of themselves morally right, righteous, or correct. It's just saying that what we're seeing is really a globalist attempt to destroy Western civilization. And that is what we're watching happen. Everything else is narcissistic theater. And so somebody posted a story, it was interesting, about one of the rioters in Pennsylvania who apparently the feds caught. She had torched a couple of police cars with Molotov cocktails. She had a mask on and all that, but the article was about all the technology they used to catch her. And she had identifiable t-shirt, and they were able to track the t-shirt through Etsy. And then they got a picture of her the investigation was moving in 2 directions. You have the picture of her actually torching at the rally, actually torching the police cars, and then moving this way, they got a picture of the T-shirt, which happened to be an Etsy T-shirt, which had been made and sold on Etsy, and only a few people had bought it. And one of them was from Philadelphia, and so they started moving the investigation. So they're connecting the dots, right? Technology was pretty heavily used. They actually got pictures of her tattoos, and then they found out that the person who had bought this worked at a massage parlor, and so they had pictures of the tattoos from the massage parlor. They got warrants, and were able to connect the dots, and this woman was arrested. And that's all interesting. Take away the fact that she was torching police cars in the middle of a riot, and she should be arrested. The conservatives that I know and have been friends with, some of them are right here on this chat, for 20 years have decried Big Brother's ability to use this type of technology to track people and to control. And so I've had conversations with some of you where you would have said, oh, this is out of hand, this is Big Brother. And yet the conservatives, 100% of them on the thread, on the comment section, were cheering the use of all this technology to arrest this woman. And I'm, like I said, she should have been arrested. With not even a hint of irony, not even a hint of caution at how the same technology could be used. And worse than that, every comment was so vitriolically angry. Not, she was the target of the anger, but she was not the force of the anger. The anger is, the force of the anger is the division between these two sides who are in bitter, bitter death struggle of hatred. And so every comment was, you know, she should go to prison, she should die in prison, she should be raped, she should be murdered. I hope she dies in prison. I hope they get every single one of these SOBs and they all go to prison forever. I'm making no commentary on that. My commentary, my idea is that type of anger, a dispatched, curious onlooker who has ideas on both sides as far as, you know, I personally don't like the fact that government is so omnipresent, so able to envelop in a Big Brother way every square inch of the world, to the point where there can be no anonymity, there can be no real freedom. I mean, your freedom extends as far as they let you go based on the whims of whoever's in power of the day. So when it's their ox getting gored, one side is all cheering. When it's the Finsicum guy and the Bundys up there occupying a government building peacefully for redress of grievances, on my Facebook thread, on my Twitter thread, I saw nothing but leftists calling for their heads, wanting them murdered. And one of them was murdered. But when the shoe's on the other foot, the right is saying the exact same words. And so it's an interesting dynamic to watch. I don't even know why I brought all that up. It's just, to me, the things that are going to happen if we have a war you don't want. I'm not saying the result. The end result may be something that's good. It may be something that's completely horrible for a time. saw a headline where China, and it's all speculation, but China could be planning an EMP attack while all this is going on leading up to the election. Of course, I see these every 2 to 4 years. Wrote a book about it called Wick. And, but think about it. In Wick, conservatively, 90% of the population of America after an EMP attack dies within the first few years. Same thing happens. I've got it over here in the book 1 Second After. And so people are outraged at 130, 100. I don't know what the death count is on COVID now. 90% of the American population could die violently in a war if a third party determines to take advantage of that war to take America out as a world power. Why they would do that and would they do that, I don't know. Why you would destroy your biggest market and trading partner. I don't pretend to be able to get into the mind of depraved people. I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff going on. I am not what they call a doomsdayer. In other words, I know where we're going. I know what's going on. I know what's going to happen in the long run. But I'm an optimistic person as far as my faith and belief. And the fact that since I'm not an idiot, I'm not have not lived my life completely without any training or any understanding of the world or without the ability to survive difficult situations, lack. I'm able to embrace discomfort. I can do without, plan for it, preparedness, etc. That doesn't mean that things aren't going to spin so wildly out of control that civilians everywhere and all levels of preparedness aren't going to die, because they will. I have every hope that they're going to make a movie out of my book, Pennsylvania. The movie's called New Pennsylvania, directed by Patrick Topless, Lord willing, is going to be made. So I'm not sitting here going, gosh, I hope something bad happens. It's going to be so good for my brand. Or like this idiot that runs this survival off-grid group who sits there and says, I have a business. I'm upset because these off-grid groups are giving away free information, so I can't sell it anymore because I haven't. He's just an idiot. I think he's a low IQ person, and I'm not saying that to be catty or anything. I think I laid off of the guy after I booted him just because I think he's I don't know. You can't say anything without getting in trouble anymore. I think he's challenged. People love to say remember 9/11, but fail to see that the Patriot Act that came from it was the last nail in the coffin of the freedom. Yeah, that's true, and has been reinstated and installed and by both parties over and over again. You got another Patriot Act after that. So the idea, remember 9/11, there's nothing to remember anymore because every remembrance is going to be pulled down. The people who are in the destroy everything, watch it all burn mode because they see their own lack of ideas, the failure, historic failure of their ideas, are perfectly fine with destroying everything, leaving no vestige of a system that they admit that they hate. It's ignorance. You can hate elements, you can hate historical realities, and you can hate that things aren't better than they could be. But you are an ignorant moron if you think that any place else or any other timeline in which Western civilization did not rise and did not proceed in the way that it did, that things would be better for more people in the world than it is now. So what we're really seeing is a revolt of the masses, is a revolt of affluent, um, relatively comfortable, spoiled, untalented, uh, unintelligent, uneducated, and I'm not talking about formal education, who have been coddled and they have no idea what they're asking for, but they're going to get it. So this wasn't a rant. We're just talking. We're sitting around talking. All right, y'all, we're at 41 minutes. So if you have a question or comment or something you want to talk about, type it in because we don't have a whole lot more time. I pretty much did what I was going to do. I got 3 pretty nice smokes here. Pretty good. Those are 7 inches. That'll last me 3 or 4 days. I saw a movie in the works photo ad with the name Pennsylvania, and I think Kevin Costner was in the photo. Is that from your book? No, I wish. No, it's Kevin Costner. Unless man, something's happened they haven't told me about. I don't think Kevin Costner's in my movie. I would love it. That would be great. William Forstmann wrote 48 hours after he wrote 60 seconds after. I don't think his plot in 48 hours is realistic, but at the end, he wrote an afterword about the research on the death and collapse that would result from the successful EMP. His sources were the generals and scientists who wrote the reports for Congress. Yeah, the first book wasn't good. The storyline was good. The writing was horrible. And there were some unrealistic things in it, but the first book was readable. And there was some backroom purposes behind the writing of those books. Newt Gingrich was involved, and there were people who were trying to get a bunch of money towards hardening infrastructure, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. And so I'm just saying it was not apolitical. It was not an apolitical book. There were reasons or financial reasons behind it. So some of those books have great value. I would recommend the reading of 60 Seconds After. Like I said, it's written very poorly. The writing in it is really bad. The storyline is pretty good. 1 second after. We both said 60. I said it because of you, though. You got me on the wrong trail, Frank. 1 second after. Wick is a much better book and it is 1,000 million times better written and involves an EMP eventually. Also, I've written extensively nonfiction stuff about EMP. I'll have to post that. I did a lot of research for the book. And I posted it on my blog at the time, but I think that it's not there anymore. All right, I need to get rid of this banner. All right, you guys, I'm not seeing any questions and comments come up, so we're creeping up on 45 minutes. I'll leave it open for another minute or two. If somebody has any questions, comments, topics, anything you want to talk about, we can talk about art, we can talk about Vermeer, we can talk about Degas, we can talk about Hemingway, we can talk about music. Last night, storm started rolling in. My dog got really nervous. Lightning hit right by the house. Dog freaked out. So I was up. So it went down this stupid memory hole of songs. And it was, you get this train of songs. And I ended up almost watching Vision Quest from 1989 or something like that. I didn't watch it, but I thought about it. So anybody who knows what I'm talking about, I almost watched a movie with Matthew Modine at midnight last night. It's weird. Your mind goes down those trails, and I started off with a song. I don't remember how the song got in my head, And then it was like 10 songs later, I was like, what was that song in a movie? And then I think I saw a Madonna song, Crazy for You, maybe 1985, not 1989. And that led me to thinking about that was in a movie, and it was a movie called Vision Quest with Matthew Modine and Linda Fiorentino. It was her first movie. I was in love, 1985, 18 years old. And so then I thought, you know what? I'll just pull that up. I'll watch it on my phone or something like that because I couldn't sleep. And then I finally, nah, I'm not going to do that. So I went to bed while it was raining. It rained pretty good. All right, y'all. It's been great. I want to remind everybody, if you would, hit the like button. Those of you who are on Facebook, I appreciate you very much. You could always slide, if you would, traverse. Give me about 15 minutes, but traverse your way to YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/bunkdad. That's me. And you can just go and maybe find this video or just subscribe or like the video. If you're watching this in the future, if you're a future person, you're watching this tomorrow, the next day, next year, whatever, just hit the like button, subscribe, hit the little bell icon that gives you notifications. And whenever I'm doing these lives, it'll send you a notification say I'm here and I'm talking to you. All right, y'all. Appreciate you being here. I love you, Lord willing. I'll talk to you tomorrow or the next day.